Are you ready to live your dream? Motivation, inspiration, and passion. That's what it takes to make dreams come true. Welcome to the Nadia Sahari Show. Our guests will share important tips, insights, and knowledge to help you fulfill your dreams of success. Here's your host, actress, author, entrepreneur, Nadia Sahari.
Hello, everybody. This is your host, Nadia Sahari, with the Nadia Sahari Show. We have a great show for you today. You know what my show is about. It's about dreams. It's about your dreams coming true. We have interesting guests all the time that share their tips and their successes with us. How did they do it? How are they doing it now to maintain that success? And my guest today is incredible. I know him personally. He's wonderful and he is full of knowledge. He's helped me through so much with my show. I have to tell you, this is Rob Greenlee, who is the VP of Content and Partnerships with Libsyn. And wait till you hear his story. Rob Greenlee, welcome to the Nadia Sahari Show.
It's great to be here, Nadia. Thanks for the invite to join you on your show.
Thank you. I'm so happy and I'm so glad that you are here because I'm going to learn a lot too. You taught me a lot, but I still have a lot to learn, so I'll never know everything. So
I don't think we're all learning. There's no way to know everything about podcasting or online media or anything. There's just so much going on with it. It's incredible. I'm constantly learning too, so don't feel like you're too far behind because all of us are learning.
We are. I mean, we never will know everything. That's for sure.
Right.
And that's what's exciting about it is that we do keep learning. Well, let's start from the beginning of time, Rob. When was your first inkling that this is what you want to do with your life?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I had no idea that this is the path that I was going to take in my life, actually. Went to college, got a marketing degree, started working in the food business with selling food products to grocery stores, ice cream, hot dogs, bacon, lunch meat, even butterball turkeys and all sorts of stuff like that is how I kind of started my career. And then the internet came up in the late 90s. Since I was a marketing background, I got all enthused about the potential of the internet and the web for marketing. That's what kind of attracted me to what was happening in the online world back in the early days. And when it eventually pulled me out of working in the grocery business, because I started working around doing online marketing with my grocery work that I was doing at the time. And that kind of evolved me right out of being in the grocery business, since it wasn't very technology-centric world back then in the produce business, because I was working for the Florida Department of Citrus at the time. So I was doing on-the-ground, real-world kind of TV, radio, billboards, sampling in grocery stores of orange juice products like Minute Maid and Tropicana, and working also with fresh citrus, too. I built the world's largest glass of orange juice back then, set a Guinness Book of World Records.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And took that glass and toured the country and set it up at the Produce Marketing Conference in Louisiana back in 1997. And so I just started doing cool stuff as it relates to the internet, too. Like I built the first FloridaCitrus.com website back in 96, 97. And so that's what got me into the internet, got me into online marketing. And that's what took me down this path of the growth and the development of the kind of the media that's being shared in the online world now, too. I saw audio and video starting to be made available through the internet and the web back in those days. And I just saw it as a marketing opportunity. And it started pulling me into thinking more about content marketing. And that's kind of where it took me into going into a radio station and making a radio show. This was back in 1999. Wow. And then taking that audio program that I created in the radio station and making it available online as an MP3 download. This was back in 1999 as well. And so started doing that on a regular basis. I did this show for 6 years and got it up on the XM Sirius satellite network back in those days for a couple of years, and it was on 15 broadcast radio stations as well. So really started to syndicate my my audio show in a large way was on a couple of public radio stations as well back in those days.
What was it called?
It was called the WebTalk World Radio Show, and it truly was a world radio show because I had people listening to my program all over the world.
That's amazing. I did not know that about you. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And now you are known and very well known evangelist of the podcasting industry.
Yep.
And you were inducted into the Academy of Podcasters Hall of Fame. I didn't even know they had one in 2017. That's
right.
Where's that at?
I know it's just a fairly new awards that's it's only been operating for about 3 or 4 years now. It's usually associated with the large podcasting conference called Podcast Movement is where they usually have the induction ceremonies and all that kind of stuff. So I had to get up in front of a big audience at the conference and do a speech to accept my induction into the Hall of Fame. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So you formerly served as VP Podcaster Relations at Voxnext
in Spreaker.
Actually, VP Podcaster Relations and as head of partnerships and head of content.
Yeah, so I was there for 4 years, and I served all those roles at the company as Spreaker grew and developed and merged with the Blog Talk Radio platform. The company started to evolve into a larger company called Voxnext, and so that's where I spent the last 6 years. It's only been a little over a month that I've been with Libsyn now. So
what are you doing with Libsyn? What are your goals for Libsyn? Where are you taking them?
Well, I'm not really taking them anywhere quite yet. I'm still pretty green in the company, so I'm trying to fit in first of all. And I mean, I've known all the people that run and manage the Libsyn platform since 2004, which is when that company started, and that's when I started podcasting, was in 2004 as well. And so I've known all the people over there for forever. So it was just, they were looking for more help. They were growing, and they were looking for a next phase of the company. And I've been a big fan of their platform for many years. I used to work for a small company called Microsoft. I ran the Zune podcasting platform back in 2008 through 2011. Or no, 2008 through 2014, actually, as the duration of time that I worked at Microsoft on podcasting.
Wow.
And so and I was a customer of Libsyn's back then. I used the Libsyn Pro software product to distribute about 60 podcasts that I was producing and distributing at the time for Microsoft.
That's amazing. Did you ever meet Bill Gates?
I did actually meet him. Yeah, sure.
Cool. So is he a nice guy?
I think so.
Yeah.
So
he seems to be. He seems to be nice. Very humble guy.
Yep.
So do you still have your XM radio world? Go ahead.
No, actually
WebTalk World.
No, that show, the WebTalk World Radio Show, ended. I turned that show off back in 2006.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that show has been off the air. I mean, it was going for almost 7 years. An easy or simple project, pretty involved, being on 15 broadcast radio stations and selling advertising. And at the time, I actually had built my own server infrastructure because back in those days, it's not like you could go to a Libsyn and get your show hosted because there weren't any platforms like that.
That's right.
Were available to actually do that. So I started, helping other people do this. And that's kind of how I got pulled into working in the back end and helping podcasters is I did that starting back in about 2000. I started hosting other people's radio shows online on my own servers that I had co-located in facilities that had access to the web and the internet. So I could serve streams of online radio shows. I could also make podcasting work for a radio show as well. So I was like a Libsyn back before Libsyn existed, actually, in some ways.
So why did you give it up?
I wasn't a server admin, and I didn't want to live in that world myself because it started to get very complicated because of a lot of the hacking that was going on back then. My servers would regularly get compromised, and I was rushing to the data center to get them back up online again because hackers all over the world were trying to hack into my servers and take them down. So, or use them to distribute movies or something like that. There was all sorts of things that these hackers were trying to use my servers that were there to support radio shows or podcasts that were being used to make pirated movies available to countries like China or Europe or wherever they could make them available. And somehow make money from it. And some of them didn't make any money from it. They were just into pirating movies and making them available. So
Oh my goodness, those hackers. What are we going to do with those hackers? Right. Okay, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with you. This is very interesting. I'm learning a lot. Okay. Okay, now we're back with Rob Greenlee. Wow, what a story. We're not even finished yet. He's done a lot. I keep calling him Einstein because he taught me a lot, and he's still teaching me a lot. So let me ask you, we all go through failures and everything. We make mistakes and everything. So what did you learn from your mistakes?
Well, being an early podcaster and trying to become successful in online media back when it wasn't very popular, that's all I did was make mistakes. That's how you learn, and that's how I learned marketing online too, was taking what information that I had about how to do things and trying them until it breaks or it doesn't work anymore. Making mistakes has always been part of my learning process in all aspects, whether it be podcasting or business in general. I mean, and granted, the world doesn't reward mistakes necessarily, but I do think if you don't let it take you down from the standpoint of your efforts and your motivation, it can be a very empowering and powerful thing because you learn from them and you move on and you make better choices and better decisions moving forward. So I would say that just in a general sense, all those mistakes that have accumulated over the years have taken me down a path towards what most people would consider, a certain amount of success in life. So going in and fixing servers because I wasn't very good at creating a network that was secure from hackers, I would consider that to be a big mistake because I upset a lot of radio show hosts because their radio shows weren't available online. So, but I learned that wasn't what I was good at. So I'd say that's the big thing.
Well, experience is a good teacher.
Right.
Yes. So you currently co-host the New Media Show.
Correct.
It's a weekly audio and video podcast that streams live on newmediashow.com/live. It's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Right.
And you're on the editorial board for Podcast Business Journal. So tell us about that. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, the show that I do right now with Todd Cochran, who's the CEO of Blueberry, which is another podcast hosting platform, I've known Todd since 2005. We both kind of started podcasting at the same time, and my radio show that I did was part of his very first podcast network back in that time frame as well. So that's how I met Todd. Todd actually created the first podcast network. My show was part of that network that kind of birthed the concept of a podcast network. So Todd and I have known each other for a long time, and we've been doing that show together for about 11 years now.
Wow.
Right? Well, it wasn't always called the New Media Show. That's actually a more recent name for the show. For many years, it was called the Saturday Morning Tech Show, because that's basically what we talked about, was just tech and online media. Three or 4 years ago, we decided to change the name to the New Media Show, because we were spending a lot of time talking about new media, and that included podcasting. But now it's a show that's really all about podcasting, and it's all about the medium of podcasting and how it's growing and developing. And occasionally we'll have guests on, like the guy that runs podcasting for Google or Spotify, or those kind of folks will join us on the show, or National Public Radio folks that, the guy that runs that will join us to talk about the trends and the issues in the medium. So that's what that show's about.
You are a presenter at podcasting and radio conference events all over the world on the subject of podcasting.
Yes.
And new media, including NAB, NAB Show, Movement, RAIN, Summits, Nielsen Audio Partner Conference, New Media and Podcast Expo, Blog World Expo. I never heard of any of these.
Well, some of them
media.
don't exist anymore. Gone away of the dodo bird.
Oh,
so.
They've gone. They flew away somewhere else into the universe.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, let me ask you, who was your biggest influence in your success today as a podcaster and doing the things that you do? I mean, you're not just a podcaster, you're the VP and everything else that we mentioned. You are the VP of Content and Partnerships. So,
well, I'm inspired by everybody else in the medium, to be quite honest with you. I mean, back in the early days when I started, there wasn't a lot of other people in the medium, and those that were involved in the online medium tended to have, to some degree, come out of the radio world. So I befriended, quite a few of the leading lights in the radio world that were doing tech shows on syndicated radio, like Leo Laporte, or those type of guys that were in 150 city markets. I would say early on, those guys were the ones that kind of pushed me, because I wanted to compete with them. So, and then as we've moved into where podcasting has really kind of taken off, I don't really, I've looked at my colleagues, like Todd Cochran and Rob Walsh, who I work with now at Libsyn. Those guys are true leaders in this medium as well, and I learn from them, and to some degree they learn from me. So we all have a different base of experience, unique skill sets that we bring to the table, and we have a different way of thinking about things. Yes. And those are all powerful things when you bring them together into a synergy, and that's what Todd and I do with the New Media Show. Is we think about things differently. He tends to be a very outspoken, kind of a little bit more of an abrasive personality. I'm a little bit more kind of like middle of the road, kind of softer type of an approach. I don't hammer people or beat people up. I'm a little bit more of a peacemaker, I guess. So each of us have our own skills and our own approaches that what we do work. They aren't the same as others, but they're complementary.
Well, that's why you successful together, because you're the opposite of each other. If, just imagine if you both were the same, both of you like him or both of you like you. I mean, it wouldn't work.
Right. I mean, it wouldn't work as well. Though I can probably finish their sentences, if that tells you anything. Because I've done so many panels with them. I've done so many podcasts with both of them. Synergy, or that knowledge of each other, is so deep and how we look at things and how we communicate in the medium, because I've listened to them on so many podcasts. They've listened to me on so many podcasts. We've talked to each other a million times at conferences, and we've gone out to dinner. All these things kind of build up a chemistry. And that's certainly something in podcasting that cannot be overemphasized, is the power of chemistry.
That's right.
Because what it does is it creates a personal connection, right, between the people that you're listening to, and that can actually go to a deeper level of connection. This medium is very personal, and having that kind of personal connection does amazing things to the content.
Yes. It's just like a marriage or a dating or a dating life or whatever. Chemistry is involved. Yeah. Chemistry is necessary. Otherwise, there's nothing there,
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It can be really bad or it can be really good.
That's right.
So it goes the whole spectrum.
That's right.
And you could say that about relationships in general,
Everything.
too. They can be really bad or they can be really good.
Absolutely. Got to have that chemistry.
Right.
It's not like your dog, and your cat.
Right. Though there can be some similarities there.
Some. We won't go there.
Right.
So, well, we know that there are people out there that want to do what you're doing. And when I call you genius and you laugh, but you really are. You are a genius in this field, and you know a lot. And I'm glad you're my friend, because I ask you a lot of questions. I want to be good at what I do, and I can't be good unless I learn from someone like you. And I really am grateful that you are my friend, and I'm grateful that you do help me and teach me some things that I can't learn everything but just what I need to get me through. I really, really am grateful.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it, and it's what I've done for many, many years, and I enjoy helping podcasters, learn, because I had a lot of people share with me. If you think back to the early days of how the whole online world developed, the World Wide Web was really all about sharing. It was really, that's the core of it, and I think we all need to sit back and think about that, because I think we're coming into is a time when people are very selfish about what they're doing online, and not realizing that the power of the web and the internet was the ability to share and help others, which is the foundation of how that medium was built. And if we move away from that, I fear that things are not going to progress in a positive direction.
I agree. I totally agree. What advice would you give our listeners that want to pursue a career as you have, and have that dream of doing what you're doing and to be successful in it?
Well, I think you just need to, think about what your passions are and follow your heart, and follow your thoughts of where you see opportunity and where you see your strengths. Not always your strengths are going to be where you wind up, because I had no background in broadcasting or radio or anything like that when I got involved. I just walked into it and took a risk. And I think that's the other part of it too, is sometimes you just have to take a risk and plunge into something that appears to have opportunity, and learn it as quickly as you can. Build a network of people that can help you and support you, and share information, just like what has happened between you and I, Nadia. It's the same process. You have, and it's a commonly known thing. It's a little bit like a mentoring, right? Yes. That happens between people. Yes. And but if those mentors don't exist in the world to help people, then that's not going to happen, right? So each of us has to be willing to give as well as take. So, and I think that's the power I would share with the younger generation that's coming up, is that you need to be willing to share as well as take, not just take. Yeah.
I agree. And, I didn't have experience in broadcasting or anything myself when I started in 2009 with Blog Talk. And I was like one of their first accounts. I took the risk. I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't know how to say anything. I didn't know what was right, what was wrong. I just did it. And and I still have the shows and look back and I think, wow, some of it was good, some of it wasn't. But you know, I progressively got better as I did it. And of course but it was interesting. And now I'm in a different area of my life. And I feel that I'm a lot better than I was. I feel much more comfortable doing it. And I really am enjoying it because I love people. And I love sharing things with people. Where can our listeners connect with you and your social media? And I did mention the website for your podcast, but you can mention it again. Tell us where you are heard, where you are seen, what's coming up.
Well, probably the best way to connect with me, if you happen to be on Twitter, is just connect with me on Twitter. And if you want to send a direct message or tweet to me, that's always great too. And I'm at robgreenlee.com. And that's with 2 E's on the end, Greenlee. And then I also have my own website at robgreenlee.com, same spelling. I can be reached in email as well, either robg@libsyn.com or rob@robgreenlee.com. So those are the best ways to reach out to me. I'm also on Facebook too. And I have a open profile on Facebook, so I'm not locked down to just my friends. So anybody can see anything that's going on there.
Perfect.
And LinkedIn too.
And LinkedIn. And are you on Instagram?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good, wonderful. And how about your website for your podcast?
Newmediashow.com. It's the best way to go. It's not the New Media Show. It's just newmediashow.com.
Wonderful. Oh, Rob, thank you so much for being on my show and for giving us this great advice, tips, sharing your story with us. And I learned a lot today, too. I learned a lot always from you. And I really am grateful that you came today and that you are here. And that you did this because it's going to be wonderful for many of us that are in this field. And you are the best person, I feel, to listen to.
Well, thank you. Thank you. My honor to join you on your program. So
thank you.
I wish you the most luck with your program, too.
Thank you. I thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was Rob Greenlee. Yes, amazing. What a great story. And he is a genius in podcasting. So go to his website, go to his social media, and I want to thank you all for listening to the Nadia Sahari Show. So tell us how much you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much, and I have a question. Are you dreaming of your life, or are you living your dream? That is the question.
Thanks for tuning in with Nadia and her guests. For more info, episodes, and connection, please visit our website, thenadiasaharishow.com. Share episodes with your friends. Follow us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Instagram, and most importantly, never give up. Live your dream.